Okay, looks like I'm back on Facebook again. We'll see for how long this time. Um, I sent some messages out today. Hopefully, you got one of those. I got to thinking about we got an important election coming up, um, and I have been following some friends, and we worked. I told you all that we worked at a children's home for a period of time. Well, some of those children are now in their 40s and maybe 50. And I was following some of their conversations. And their conversations was back and forth about who do you vote for? Uh, and I got to thinking, as Christians, elections are difficult things. How do we determine who we vote for? Well, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you who I'm going to vote for. But I want to give you some this week and next week. I'm pretty certain I won't get through it all in 30 minutes tonight. But I want to talk to you about our responsibility as Christians, and we need to be engaged in the society we live in. I read this illustration, and this illustration took place about 4 years ago. It took place before the 2016 election. And this pastor said early in the morning he went out to get his paper. He also got his neighbor's paper, his 96-year-old neighbor, and took it to her. And on the headline was about debates that were going to take place that night. And he asked her, you going to watch the debates tonight? And she said, no, I'm not going to watch the debates. I'm pretty disgusted with all this stuff. Well, later that night, him and his wife sat down with their 17-year-old daughter. And they were watching the debate. And after about 10 minutes of the debate, the daughter got up and she said, this is disgusting. I can't handle this. And she went to her room. So the pastor said the next morning at his staff meeting, he relayed this experience to his staff. And his associate pastor said, wow, at least we have something now that brings generations together. It's pretty sad commentary. This pastor's neighbor has been through at least 18 presidential elections in her lifetime. And she's disgusted with the political process. And I think we all have to say that we are somewhat disgusted with the political process. How should we act? Do you ever stop to think about that? Here you have a 96-year-old woman that has been through all these presidential elections and debates and things. She's disgusted, and you have a 17-year-old girl that hasn't even voted in one election yet, and she's already disgusted. And a lot of the talk that I have seen and observed and even had some questions about is, who do you vote for? How can you determine who you vote for? Some people want to say, well, I can't vote for either one of them because they both have things about them I don't like. I agree with that. Um, so, you know what? Those are the people, too, that probably aren't active members in any church, because I can't find one where there's people that are perfect. Every church I go to, those people got problems. Well, that's the truth. If you ever find the perfect church, don't join it, because it won't be perfect anymore. And these are things that we have to realize. You're not going to find a perfect candidate. I was blessed to be in Northwest Arkansas, and I can talk about these men because I don't have to vote for them, and you don't have to make a decision for them. But they were both good Christian men. One was Senator Tom Cotton, young man, and the other one was Congressman, and I just left my mind. Uh, his first name is Steve, and I should know his name because I spent time with him. Steve Womack. Both good Christian men. You know, you've heard the saying, well, if they're Christian men and they go to Washington, they're not going to be Christian men very long. Well, you know, I don't believe that. If we believe that, then we ought to just do away with the political system. If it's so bad that a Christian can't go there and maintain, and I'm going to say it's hard, but you know, you don't have to compromise just because you're a child of God. Some of the words that I came up with that probably describe a lot of people, and before I get there, let me say this. You know, 71% of seniors, that's guys like me, you know, white hair, gray hair, not like you, Stephanie. I don't know, Teresa, you may be close. I don't know. But seniors, 71% say that they're stressed, and half of the adults admit that they have anxiety issues during presidential elections, especially the last one and this one. On the other end of the spectrum, let's talk about millennials. You might be a millennial, huh, Steph? Are you Stephanie? Are you a millennial? You may be. I'm not sure. Didn't turn my sound off on my phone, and so it's going to do this until I get it killed. You know, that's what happens when you get banned and you can't, you don't remember to do all of this stuff anymore. Hopefully I don't get banned no more. Okay, got that set. So 1 in 4 millennials would rather the Earth get hit by a meteor than to have President Donald Trump or President Joe Biden. They don't want either one. That says a lot. So here are some words that come up, but that I listen to things, and this is what is describing what's happening in our society today. I'm afraid. I get angry. Get angry with the way they act. I get angry with the things they say. I'm just disgusted with it all. I don't trust any of them anymore. I'm frustrated. I get embarrassed about these men and women that are supposed to be leading our country in the way they act. They act like spoiled rotten brats, somebody said. Yeah, probably so. There's a lot of hostility. Boy, that's the truth, isn't it? More hostility today than what we've seen in any other pre-election time in this country. Makes me think that we're in maybe some uh, communistic countries or other countries like that, but not in America. Uh, so here we go. We live in a culture where there's snipers that live behind laptops and computers, and they're just looking for something that they can destroy their enemy with. You know, if you haven't figured this out yet, be careful because there's cameras everywhere now. Uh, you can't get away with nothing. Uh, I used to like to go outside, go to the bathroom. You know, well, I can't do that no more because there's cameras everywhere. So I'm a little disappointed in that. But a pastor in Chicago by the name of Charles Lyon says this election highlights our social decay and our cultural rot. This election serves up exactly what we deserve. We're in the middle of what we helped create. We didn't get there overnight. Let me tell you, folks, it's been a period of time and it's been a series of things. Uh, we started seeing the erosion of the family in the 60s. We had all kinds of protesters in the latter 60s and early 70s, and we lost respect for our country. Our patriotism has just uh, gone, you know. I'll get on my soapbox for a minute. Uh, we have men that are playing children's games uh, that haven't served in the military. They're of every race, and they just respect the flag that represents the freedom that a lot of men and women died so they can play a child's game. Uh, yeah, I'm a little sensitive to that because I'm a veteran. Uh, my father was. I had a brother that was. Uh, these guys haven't made sacrifices. They don't know what a sacrifice is, and they're making millions of dollars, and then they disrespect the country that they had the freedom to play a kid's game for millions of dollars. Okay, off the soapbox now. Um, our country is conflicted by a lot of things. Even Christians are conflicted in this. Somebody said, at the end of one of these debates, you know what's going to happen? All the Christians are going to stand over there and they're going to start judging who's really saved and who's not saved. Okay, I've got to get up and say guilty. I said, how can a born again, or maybe the statement I made was a born again Christian can't vote for somebody that has no respect for life and that supports abortion. I said it, I put it in print, it's on the internet, it's there forever. I'm guilty. Um, I'm gonna try from this day forward not to do stupid stuff like that anymore. Um, because Christians have difficult situations, and it's easy for us to say, well, if they're really a Christian, they ought to do this or they ought to do that. Listen, we have Christians that live in our society that have been affected by our society, that have not maybe checked, what was coming in, and they allowed garbage to come in, and garbage in, and it's garbage out. And now they're in a position where they think that there are some things that are right. Here's the bottom line. Everybody has to stand before God one time. At one time. Every single one of us. I'm going to have to answer for all of the things that I've done that I shouldn't have done, and that includes saying I don't know how a real child of God can vote for somebody that supports abortion. Especially, I think I said that even after the baby's born, they decide they don't want it, so you just lay it on the counter and let it die. I don't understand that. I'll be the first to say it. I've had an experience this last week that changed my outlook on things. I know this person, and I know this person's heart. And I realized that this person has been deceived. There's no two ways about it. Love this person with all my heart. Breaks my heart to see them in the stand that they made. Listen, we all can be deceived by what's going on out there. But let me get on, because I'm already 16 minutes in. This is probably going to be a 3-week Bible study now. But here's where I'm at. I'm a pastor. I'm not a political pundit. I do follow politics. I follow it with a great interest. I don't understand a lot about politics. My understanding is kind of basic. But that's okay, because my calling is to be a preacher, not to be a politician. That preacher, that word preacher or pastor means shepherd. I have two primary responsibilities: spiritually lead the flock and spiritually feed the flock. 1 Peter 5:2 says, shepherd the flock of God that is among you, exercising oversight, not under compulsion. In other words, not under obligation or force, but because this is of your heart. This is what you want to do, and it's coming from your heart. Okay? Do it willingly, but do it as God would have you. The second thing is, I'm not going to lift up one political party or the other. Now, somebody might say, oh, you've already done that. Well, you haven't heard me use the word Democrat or Republican. You don't know how I'm registered to vote. You may think you do, but you don't know how. I don't have any intentions of telling you how I registered. That's my business, and the way you register is your business. I'm not here to defame the other political party that I'm not a part of. I have tell you in the past, I have voted for men and women of each party. I voted for what I felt was the best candidate, according to what they say they believe. I want to make an appeal to you. You know, this is a topic that can be explosive. It's a topic that feelings can be hurt. It's a topic that can create hard feelings and break up relationships. And we shouldn't ever allow that to happen. I came across this quote. It says, we aren't here to one up one another, but to help one another up. We have to be encouraging. This person that I told you I was talking about, I'm 100% convinced that they're going to be in heaven. I'm also 100% convinced that, like the rest of us, they'll have to answer for the bad decisions that they make in their life. And I want to deal with a few things. I got like 10 minutes before I run out my 30 minutes here. here's a verse that helped me a lot. Let me share it with you before I go any farther. You might want to write this down. Daniel 2:21. Daniel 2:21 from the English Standard Version says, "He changes times and seasons. He removes kings and he sets up kings." Do you understand that God's plan is going to be carried out? And that is what the whole thing's about. It's going to be carried out. Now, some people say, okay, so it doesn't matter if I vote or not because God's going to carry out his plan. He's going to do it his way. That's not what I said. The very first thing that I want to tell you is voting is a stewardship issue. You and I have responsibilities as God's children to vote. It's part of our stewardship. It's part of our what's expected of us. It's our privilege and it's our responsibility to vote. I'm sure maybe in the first few days of this week, some of you have already voted. I watched on TV about how long the lines were. Joan and I are tired from our trip last week and a lot of doctor visits this week, and we're not going to go stand in the line. I got news for you. I'll vote. It may be on November the 3rd, but I'll vote. Listen what Deuteronomy 1:13 says. Deuteronomy 1:13. It describes the importance of choosing wisely. When Moses gave the people this charge, choose for your tribes wise, understanding, and experienced men, and I will appoint them as your heads. Again, that's the English Standard Version. The importance of character as a qualification. That's what Moses said. They got to have good character. They have to be wise. They have to be understanding. They have to be experienced. Part of the problem with our government is we have some people up there serving that don't have experience, and then we have some that they're past the experience age of time for them to go on. That's just my opinion. And I didn't specify anybody. Here's what Samuel Adams said about voting. He said, "Let each citizen remember at the moment he is offering his vote that he is not making a present or a compliment to please an individual." In other words, you don't vote for somebody to make them feel good. Oh, yeah, I voted for you. Oh, well, remember, I voted for you. There's a lot of that goes on in Vanuatu because it's such a poor country. But we don't see that so much here. Listen what he said. So it's not making a present or a compliment to please an individual, or at least that he ought not so to do, but that he is executing one of the most solemn trusts in human society. Now listen what he says, most solemn trust in human society for which he is accountable to God and his country. Who's responsible for our country being in the mess that it's in? Well, I'll tell you, it's not God's fault. Okay? So, look at that. Second thing, I got 10 of these and then a little more. And so, we're looking at probably 2 more weeks. No president or elected official will provide everything we're looking for. Okay? I can't vote for that guy because he's this way. I can't vote for that guy because he's this way. But you know what? I can't vote for either one of them, so I just won't go vote. You're not going to find the perfect guy. You're not going to find a perfect church. You're not going to find a perfect church member. You're not going to find a perfect pastor. Preacher. You're not going to find it. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. Don't cop out. Oh, I can't go vote because neither one of them are good Christians. Listen, Chuck Colson used to say this: salvation will not arrive on Air Force One. A lot of truth to that. Psalms 146, 3 through 5. Do not put your trust in princes and human beings who cannot save. When their spirit departs, they return to the ground. On that very day, their plans come to nothing. Blessed are those whose help is the God of Jacob, whose hope is in the Lord their God. Listen, no politician, no political party, no president will or can meet all of the needs. Impossible. Political promises will evaporate. Expectations will go unmet because we live in a fallen world. Our help and hope must always be in the Lord, our God. He is the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. He's there for us. Okay? God is all powerful. Number 3. I'd like to give a fail-safe promise and prediction for what we'll wake up to on the morning of November 4th. Are you ready for it? I'm going to make a prediction. You better lean in. You better stop everything you're doing. You better listen so you don't miss this. And if there's other people that aren't on here watching, remind them that this is an important prediction on what's going to happen, what they're going to see on November 4th. And here it is. God will still be on the throne. November 4th, God's still going to be on the throne. Even if Jesus comes back, he's going to be on the throne. Pretty safe prediction, isn't it? Share that with everybody. In the middle of his weeping over the loss of Jerusalem, here's what Jeremiah writes in Lamentations. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Boy, isn't that great to know? I don't have to worry about politicians. I don't have to worry about government. We don't even have to worry about who's going to win the election. The one thing that we do have to worry about is that we are good stewards and we vote. And we vote for the best candidate that's there all the way down the line. The Almighty is going to accomplish his purpose no matter who is president. Okay? Remember that he used evil rulers like Cyrus, Caesar, Nebuchadnezzar, and Nero to fulfill his will. He has worked out his purpose under every condition imaginable. From Egypt to Babylon to Rome, through world wars, every circumstances, we might feel like things have been taken out of our hands, but they have not been taken out of God's hands. Proverbs 21:1 says, the king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord, and he turns it wherever he will. God's in control. What I'm going to see on right now in America is a kind of panic. A panic that is giving itself over to fear. That's rooted in a lack of confidence. That I think is contrary to the Bible and God's rule and power of the gospel. We got some problems in America. One of the most important arguments to the Supreme Court in a case from Kentucky is going on this week. Very important. If it happened in Kentucky, it can happen in Texas. And this could take away the freedom that we have to be able to go to church. I don't think we as Americans realize how important it is that we go to church. Don't let it be something that it's taken away from you before you realize how important it is. Make it important. Christians should be the best citizens they can be. Here, Jesus isn't, you can take this to bank, Jesus isn't running for president, but he's running everything. For kingship belongs to the Lord, the psalmist said in Psalms 22:28, and he rules over the nations. Listen, I got to stop here, and I don't want to stop. I want to keep going because this is important stuff. You're going to hear me stress over, it looks like 3 weeks now, this one thing. If you don't grasp anything else that I have put out tonight, grasp this. Make church and your attendance at church, your service at church, your stewardship as a child of God, the most important thing in your life. You'll never regret it. The things that I regret in my life is when I failed God, when I didn't do what I should have done, when it was kind of, uh-oh, I shouldn't have done that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, but I'm going to give you a little heads up. There was parents. They had a son that was a pretty good ball player. He started showing it when he was 6 or 7 years old. So they wanted him on all these tournament teams. But these tournament teams would play and practice on Wednesday and Sunday. His parents said, no, you can't do that. Because we've made a commitment in this house that our attendance, our stewardship at church is the most important thing. They had other parents tell them, you're making the big mistake. That boy has talent. He'll be able to go somewhere. He'll be able to do something. But you can't let him miss those Wednesdays and Sundays when they're playing ball. The father said for him to go somewhere in his life, he has to miss those Wednesdays and Sundays playing ball because what he needs fed is his soul. I'm going to tell you more about this story. I think you'll be surprised when I share with you who it is. Never, ever regret making a sacrifice for the Lord. Make your stewardship and your service number one in your life. Let's pray. Father, I just thank you for this day that you've given and the time that we have, that we've been able to share your word. Father, I just ask that you would burden our hearts, that we would pray every day from now until election day, Father, that we would pray for people to seek you, to look to you, to pray to you, to ask you to calm their hearts and the fears and the anguish and the anxieties that they have in their life. Father, show them the truth. Father, help each one of us to make correct decisions. Father, help us to make the decisions that you yourself would make. Father, we understand that you're in complete control, and no matter who is elected, you can change all things. calm our hearts, calm our lives. Father, help us to be soul winners for you. Just ask that you be with each one of us as we go through this week. Father, show us the way that you would have us to go. Be with us as we come together on Sunday, that we'll have a glorious day for you. We ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen. Encourage everybody that hasn't been on here tonight, get on. Let's be prepared when we go to the poll to vote, that we know what God would have us to do. Good night.